Hi, I am author Miss Mollie Holt. I've been in Vegas for 4 years, and there's a long story to this. The reason I came over here, physically becoming a resident, back in, it was July 2015, was because my dad was here. He's been in Vegas probably 60 plus years. And I'm originally from Houston, Texas. However, I was living in California with a prominent attorney who used to be over the Nevada bar here. His name was Attorney James Mancuso. He was the love in my life. He was a mentor. He was my sports and entertainment attorney. He taught me about this town and how cruel it can be and how unforgiving, and also that it can be an opportunity if you make it. However, I don't play games, and I'm learning that this town, to me, is not a city until you actually bring corporate companies in this town and make it to where families can actually exist and have things to do, like my 16-year-old. And to tell you how my dad back in the day opened up my eyes to bookmaking with the Italian mafia. That was back in Houston, Texas. Well, I think that's what intrigued my mother, Sherry, to my dad. He goes by JR in that world. He's not a bad guy, but I will tell you, he is the only man that I've known that's been married 11 times. He met his wife online, last wife in the Philippines, here 2 years ago. He left 2 years ago, August. I took him to the airport. He dumped all his stuff on me, including his car. I actually impounded his car. I told him if he did not get the actual papers for this car, I was going to send it, have it taken away, and I did. And unfortunately, whether it's your friends or family, they don't treat you, a certain way. You have to handle business. Well, the way the mob works is, and this is what I saw with my father, and I really had to understand that world, and I had to learn through other people in Las Vegas, Nevada, about the love of family that they have, okay? I met the Fertitas, I met the Russos, I was married to Sirocco Jr., which was my ex-husband, this was before I met Attorney James Mancuso, who was a partner of the current Nevada bar president here, Dominic Gentile, who's a great guy. He's a criminal lawyer, contract lawyer. My guy has known my family, even the attorneys in Texas and Arizona that I've known through my life, even before I was even born. He was 14 years old, older than me, and I happened to meet him in San Diego over horse racing, because my father and my daddy's side and all our family is in oil and gas. He's been a bookmaker, a bookie, call it that, because that's what you are in that world, for literally 65 years. He's got a baby now. It's 78 this year. I'll be 49. I have a beautiful daughter. And I'll tell you, because of that life, my mother, and I'm going to tell you the real me, because I've had to have a closure. I've had to have a closure over the life of what Vegas, Sin City, is all about. After promoting it, seeing how people treated people and also me, and I've had to overcome that. And the interesting thing that drew me to Vegas was to find myself and my roots, because my own mother, because of my father, when I was a year old, they divorced. And it was all over money. It was over ugliness. It was over my daughter. My daughter's in the middle of a mess. My mother would never give forgiveness to my father, even as a so-called Christian. And living in the Italian mafia world, around that world, living here in Las Vegas, because my dad had said he knew that this attorney died of a brain tumor. He was beautiful. James Mancuso was loved by many people. He was half Greek, half Italian. He knew multiple people in countries like in the Vietnamese and Hispanic world, his Italian world. He was half Italian, half Greek. But he taught me how to be strong as a woman, to take care of business. I've had to get the FBI after my extended family because of my father and my mother's relationship. And I wrote a book called A Month of Happiness with Miss Mollie, and I've had that written since James Mancuso got diagnosed of cancer in 2013. And I can't tell you, I will tell you my history of work as being a radio station manager, okay? A news reporter, a talent agent in Texas. I have been in production with the first Star Wars model maker, Phil Stewart, back in 1977 with George Lucas. I've met so many amazing people through my father's life that I was like a sponge when I was a little girl. I was probably 10 years old, and I saw things that I just never want to repeat because they're not good. And I saw men and women treat each other so horribly. But my book, A Month of Happiness with Me, is based on 4 of my industries that I have had living here in Las Vegas. I am a corporate girl. I'm not of this life here in Las Vegas, but my daddy has been rooted here for 65 years as a bookie, working with the Italian mafia, has been connected to attorneys in the Supreme Court, Washington, all the way up to every state you can think of. Anything and everything, from dealing with the FBI, dealing with the Federal Trade Commission, dealing with all the Better Business Bureaus, and the telecom business, being in the movie business, being in the TV business, and the sports entertainment world. Greg Maddox, this attorney, meeting happened to be a very integral part of James Mancuso's life because he was over his estate. He was over a lot of different estates of different figures from sports and entertainment, that industry. And today he would have been 61 years old this year, but he died of a nasty brain cancer tumor. That was October 2015, excuse me. And that was when I moved to California, from California to Las Vegas, to be by my dad because I didn't have my mother. And the one thing that I can tell you about my book is that I created a recipe for life, personally and professionally, so that you can understand those missing ingredients in your own life. It's a workbook. I call them ingredient concerns. And the best Christmas present I got last month was, one, we got an award with Amazon for Silent Cry's independent movie. which was a project that we filmed a TV pilot or movie pilot in the studio of KKVI 89.9 FM in Dallas, Texas, Garland, Saxe, all that North Texas area. That was back in 2013, but the award was last month, 2019, December, and I was so happy. It was the Rising Lift Award, and it's on my Instagram, author Mollie. I gotta tell you, if it wasn't for the book and me journaling my whole life and getting that book published June 1st, I probably would not be alive today because I don't have my daughter. My dad went to the church in Salado, Texas, Salado Methodist Church, to talk to my mother about forgiveness. Because in life, in order to be at peace with ourselves and to be grounded in life, is to have forgiveness, no matter where you live, no matter where you are, no matter who you're associated with. There's a level of class that we have to have in life, and that is the peace of forgiveness. And my mother cut her phone off, cut me out of my daughter's life. I had to go on social media to find my daughter. And the pain, I can't even tell you, that I've endured as a woman by herself in Las Vegas, Nevada, has been rough. And I finally started my book signings. I got the strength and the courage to start traveling more. I traveled to Dallas for New Year's and I came back here, so I had to reroute myself. Sometimes in life, no matter where we live, will give you an opportunity to start fresh again. And I think what Las Vegas has done for me here, based on everything I've endured, is a fresh start. And that's a positive thing, because until you get to know me, I'm 4 industries all in one. I come from a very diverse background: legal, sports entertainment, hospitality. I was on the restaurant board in Texas. I was an editor of the newsletter for Central Texas area. I helped my own mother with her dream. And what kills me to this very day is she cut off communication through my stepfather, who thinks he's above the law because my own mother thinks my dad is still with the Italian mafia and is dangerous. And all he wanted was forgiveness. And that is what we have to exist in this lifetime. If I tell anybody that I meet, in my book, I always say, keep perfecting your life recipe every day. Because our timer is up when our Heavenly Father cuts us off. So I am author Miss Mollie Ann Holt, born in Houston, Texas, lived in California half my life. My family on my daddy's side is California, and my mother, Texas. However, I am here now in Las Vegas, Nevada. I promote the tourism here in Nevada with Cast Vegas. Crystal Thurman, she saw talent in me when I shared with her that I was a talent agent from Texas and had been around beautiful people. In fact, Luke Gunstacks, my current entertainment attorney in Plano, Texas, where I was for New Year's, he has watched me. And the one thing that I can tell you, he said, Mollie, through prayer and realizing that people in life, they get jealous of your environment and what they see, but they don't know behind the scenes what your pain is. So I will tell you that Las Vegas can be a great place. I see it growing. I see it going through pains of change, because the past 30 years, say 65 years with my dad being 78 years of age and being with the Italian mafia, and the horse racing and the bookmaking with the sports. It's all glamorous, the girls, the shows. But when it comes down to family, families are supposed to stick together, whether they're organized crime or you're just an average family in Texas. And I thank God for the experiences I've had because they've made me who I am today. And the one thing I can tell you is that I pray for my daughter's well-being, and she's turning into a beautiful little girl, a woman, a young teenager at 16. So my prayer truly is one day at a time, and I hope my book is a good tool for people to learn, to let me be a light to them, just a missing ingredient to their life. Thank you.